Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You are welcome to another awareness and a recap on the problems of Nigerian Christians and indigenous people of both Nigeria and Biafra are facing in the name of one British Nigeria, depending on your knowledge of events. In Nigeria, indigenous people and Christians have become so vulnerable in hands of Fulani terrorists and their sponsors using Boko Haram, ISWAP, Herdsmen, Fulani kidnappers, and Islamic government, including their ransom negotiators, with security agents of Nigeria acting as buffer to these groups. Before we continue, Massive Media wish to thank all our viewers and lovers of this channel, especially those our subscribers. We say it will continue to be well with you all times. For those who have not subscribed yet, Massive Media implores you to do so by hitting the subscribe and the notification icons, and then share our videos to your friends and loved ones. Back to our program. We will channel this question now to Fulani and the Muslim communities in Nigeria. How many of you have shown sincere sympathy and speak passionately in love and condemn the activities of Fulani terrorists in Nigeria from your hearts, including government officials, past military heads of state, governors, and members of parliament, both serving and retired? On killings against the indigenous people and Christians, research have shown it is only the Christians, surviving victims, agitators, and foreign Christian media, human rights groups, private social media, and bloggers that raise alarm. It is important that reporting incidents is different from showing sympathy. So those who may say they reported the incident does not mean there is evidence of sympathy, sincere sympathy on what the indigenous people are suffering in the hands of the terrorists and some government actors. Please, before we continue, we ask our viewers and admirers of this program, do not forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share, and leave your comment. The question is, who is the creator and facilitator of this dangerous Islamic totalitarian loop in the modern-day Nigeria? This is from an evil genus-faced Nigerian military president and the father of all political dribbler and manipulator of middle 80s, called General Ibrahim Babangida. Since history of Nigeria is not allowed to be taught in Nigerian schools, it becomes imperative that those who have the capacity to expose or disclose essential ingredients of forgotten history, reviews, and other essential information through the social media to do so. Indeed, for everything resulting from terrorism attacks in any part of Nigeria, the former military government of General Babangida is to be held responsible. Quoting in a Vanguard publication of May 27, 2014, where it was published, IBB started religious crisis in Nigeria, confirmed delegate. Quote, she insisted that the relationship between Christians and Muslims deteriorated when Nigeria was admitted as a full member of Organization of Islamic Conference, unquote. Please, before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and share the video. We will continue. For the purpose of the youths who had no clue of history of who General Ibrahim Babangida is, we will give a little introduction to that. General Ibrahim Babangida was born on 17th August 1941, now retired Nigerian Army General, and was the President of Nigeria from 27th August 1985 to 26th August 1991. He previously served as the Nigerian Chief of Army Staff from January 1984 to August 1985. General Babangida joined the Nigerian Army on 10th December 1962, where he attended Nigerian Military Training College in Kaduna. He is remembered and noted for the following. He was a key player in most of Nigerian coups in Nigeria that toppled various governments, such as the July 1966 coup that killed General György Thomas Inonsi, the February 1976 coup that toppled Nigerian warlord and the dictator General Yakubu Gowon. Again, December 1983, he was part of the dissident military groups that toppled the Nigerian elected democratic president in the name of late Shehu Shagari. Then on August 1985, General Babangida actively participated in the coup that toppled General Muhammadu Buhari, and he made himself the first Nigerian military president that lasted between 1985 to 1993, when he said he was stepping aside, unquote. However, he was noted for registering Nigeria into the Organization of Islamic Countries in 1986. The prelude of this is to compensate the promise of the late Sardauna of Sokoto, the great-grandson of Usman Dan Fulvio, who was charged to ensure the completion of Islamization of Nigeria. This can be located in an academic publication of Olukoshi, 1990, page 493, Pandan, 1986, page 537. In our last publication, Great Lesson to Igbos / Biafrans, from Professor Banji Akintoye's interview, dated May 15th, 2024. Massive Media explained what academic journal and publication is all about. Please do not forget to make reference. If you have not watched this video, please go back to watch it. To be remembered that late Ahmad Bello was the Premier of Northern Nigeria. He was unfortunately assassinated during 1966 January military coup in Nigeria. During his time as the Premier, he selected some Northern boys and followers whom he enrolled into Nigerian Military Training School, Kaduna. The key beneficiaries of Ahmad Bello military project were today the retired General Yakubu Gowon, who was the head of state between 1966 to 1975, late former head of state General Murtala Mohammed, then General Muhammadu Buhari, who was also head of state between 1983 to 1985, and later Nigerian Democratic President from 2015 to 2023. Again, General Bramasi Babangida, who was also Nigerian military president between 1985 to 1993. Then finally, General Abdul Salami Abubakar, who was the Nigerian head of state between 1998 to 1999, who is remembered for his constitution, which had been dribbling all seasons Nigerian parliamentarians since inauguration of the democratic system of government in 1999. This group of military officers and the others unnamed were the sympathizers of the death of former boss and the Premier of Northern Nigeria, late Ahmadu Bello. His military followers, therefore, insisted on the implementation of Islamization agenda in modern-day Nigeria. First Islamization project and the registration was reactivated by General Bramasi Babangida, and the implementation came from General Muhammad Buhari, the Nigerian Democratic President. The governors and indeed Fulani headed security agents all over Nigeria. The activities of Fulani-sponsored Boko Harams, ASWAPs, Herdsmen, bandits, and kidnappers, including their negotiators, have led to so many problems in Nigeria. Please do not forget to share this video to your loved ones and those within your WhatsApp groups. Thank you. The backlash of this Islamization agenda are as follows. It led to the massacring of indigenous people and the Christians in the north and southwest of Nigeria, land grabbing and occupation by the Fulani terrorists, wherever they displace the indigenous people and the Christians. Finally, this led to the quest for disintegration of Nigeria by wise and intelligent groups such as the IPOB, the Yoruba Liberation Movement, and others. This has become the backlash of the registration and introduction of terrorism as a method of Islamization and acquisition of land. On failure to do this within the specified period, a new system was introduced, that is Ruga section, whereby states are mandated to provide land for the Fulanis, which is not tenable in a modern and civilized society. It is only in Nigeria where people do not reason effectively as to what the implications may be in future. All this took place during the 8 years of General Muhammad Buhari from Fulani ethnic group. Today, Nigeria is headed by another Yoruba Muslim from southwest of Nigeria and Fulani vice president, who was also accused of being part and the sponsor of these bandits that are marauding and intimidating, killing and persecuting indigenous people and the Christians in northern part of Nigeria and Nigeria at large. Like the government of Buhari, the new leadership shows lip service to terrorists, and the terrorists have continued their attacks on various parts of northern Nigeria, southwest and eastern Nigeria. Please do not forget to like and comment as you watch this video. It is unfortunate that the government of the world turned blind eyes. Most countries are more interested in crude oil businesses with apartheid regime of Nigeria as somewhere with British-sponsored apartheid regimes of Peter Botha of old South Africa and Ian Smith of Rhodesia of today's Zimbabwe. Some Western countries with Muslims whose identities are hidden within the government circle always referred killings of indigenous people and Christians by sponsored Islamic fundamentalists wanting to Islamize everyone and take control of Nigeria, refer to these actions as actions caused by climate change. Yet, such countries refuse to give these terrorists visas to their various countries for fear of being attacked. United Nations kept silent, except they were affected by Boko Haram bombing in 2011. Giving aid does not resolve the problems. Please make reference to Professor Stephen Banji Akintoye's interview, referenced in our last video of 15th May 2024. The issue of persecution of Boko Haram and the Nigerian officials who committed crimes against humanity had been swept into carpet. What has ICC prosecutor done after his visit to Buhari's regime in 2022, including the United Nations Secretary General, We only hear the President Putin of Russia and the Prime Minister Netanyahu to be charged for crimes against humanity. No one has heard about former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and Yakubu Gowon of Nigeria being charged for crimes against humanity. The Boko Harams have not been charged and taken to Hague for crimes against humanity. The world only hear about the paperwork. African Union, AU, and ECOWAS are not interested because most of the member nations are maneuverable by Nigerian government and also Muslim members in these two various organizations. They can only take action only if they are mandated by Western powers to act against Nigeria. This is because most of them are Fulanis and Muslim nations, while the recipients are Nigerian indigenous peoples and Christians. European Union and various governments within the European Union show less concern over what is happening in Nigeria. Some may say it's African affairs. This is applicable to American government. They are all interested in their business interest in Nigeria, but neglect the tragic atrocities being caused by the bandits and the terrorist organizations in northern Nigeria. The United Kingdom can only remember they are world power and also the godfather of Nigeria when it comes to issue concerning Eastern Nigeria, Biafra, and also when their business interest is being affected in the southern part of Nigeria, their feeder nation. The EU has never shown dedicated resolve to help solve these brutal killings, land acquisition and the displacement of indigenous people, killing of Christians, burning of churches, and the demand for dissolution of Nigeria as the only solution as proffered by Professor Banji in his last interview. However, they are only concerned by entering into bilateral agreement and paid protective fees around countries within Europe to avoid migrants from entering into Europe. These migrants are those who are affected by these problems mentioned above, which they are not prepared to resolve. Therefore, they allowed the sinking boat of immigrants to Europe to continue. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also leave your comments. Massive Media will bring to you a man who has stood to fight for indigenous people of Nigeria and the Biafra. His name is György Hölvenyi. He is a Hungarian politician currently serving as a member of European Parliament. He is from Christian Democratic Party. He studied literature and history from Etavos Laurent University and also economics and tourism. He was a Secretary of State for relations with churches, national minorities, and the civil society between 2012 to 2014. Also advised on intercultural and religious dialogue in the EPP Group Secretariat. He is the parliamentarian who presented before the European Parliament the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Let us see what he said. On the 8th of February 2024, in a preliminary session in European Parliament, he stated, "The raid, brutal killings and attacks on churches on Pentecost and Christmas Eve cannot be interpreted in any other way. This is persecution of Christians," the politician said in the debate. In his speech, he argued that ideological blindness of some European decision makers make them completely insensitive to human sufferings when it comes to Christians. He continued, "The consequence of this is that in the absence of protection from West, Christians become even more vulnerable as those who persecute them see Europe turning a blind eye to cruelty. He continued, "It is regrettable that we have not seen any substantive reaction from External Action Service," unquote. He stated, "The central government of Nigeria is unable to stop violence. President Tinubu pledged in December that the army would ensure Nigeria's safety. We expected the word to be followed by action," he said. He maintained that we Europeans cannot turn a blind eye to violence against Christians. We cannot ignore the persecution against Christians. This is a human rights issue, he quoted. This is followed by another resolution that was submitted on 28 June 2023 under the presidency of Ahmed Tinubu. This is a follow-up of Rule 138 of Fulvio Martusciello, a member of European Parliament. He stated, "In Nigeria, a terrorist group of militant Herdsmen has taken the persecution of Christians to unprecedented levels. Last year, religiously motivated attacks led to the deaths of over 5,600 Christians and the targeting of over 2,100 churches, as well as the foreseeable displacement of more than 124,000 Christians, almost 15,000 of whom have become refugees because some states in the north enforce Sharia law. Christian residents are sympathetically discriminated against and are effectively treated as second-class citizens. These communities are living under the constant threat of human rights abuses and of human trafficking. Unfortunately, the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is only interested in sponsoring Hajj. It was reported that 90 billion naira was set aside to sponsor Hajj to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. This is evidence that the propagation of Islamization is what is in the agenda of the Nigerian government. If so, what will he do to protect Christians there? This was submitted on the 28th of June 2023 and updated on July 5th, 2023. All these are efforts that need practicality, and the practicality as it is today is to make reference to Professor Banji's advice, whereby Nigeria will be disintegrated to allow people to practice their faith without any interference, killings, massacre, displacement, brutality will be reduced. This is what those who are in the European Parliament should be thinking. In Europe, this type of system cannot be allowed to operate. They would have acted as they did in Yugoslavia, whereby many ethnic groups were disintegrated and formed as a nation to allow peace to reign within the circle. And then, since after this, there had been peace in Europe. Nigerians need this peace. Let people stay on their own and allow peace to reign. The peace of a large country like Nigeria is also a peace for Africa, Europe, and the world. With this, we come to the end of this very program. This highlights shows that some people within the European Union are also thinking well of Nigeria, sympathizing with Christians, and this can be exploited by those who understand what the system is all about. Thank you for listening. We wish this will help those who are fighting for their rights to integrate and identify those who are sympathetic to the problems of Nigeria within the European Parliament. Not necessarily going directly to the European Union, but lobbies can be made through those who show sympathy to the plight of indigenous people of Nigeria and the Christians. With this, we come to the end of this very program. We ask you to subscribe, like, share, and also hit the notification bell and put down your comment. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Bye.
billion naira to subsidize the cost of this year's Hajj pilgrimage. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the announcement during the inaugural Hajj airlift at the Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport in Kebbi State on Wednesday. In his speech, Shettima emphasized the president's commitment to religious pilgrimage and urged intending pilgrims to pray for the success of the administration and to act as good ambassadors for Nigeria by observing all Hajj protocols in Saudi Arabia.
The president approved billion naira to subsidize the cost of pilgrimage for this year's Hajj. Therefore,
and put down your comment. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Bye.